Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's message based on something from Mark 8. I actually haven't had time to see Roy's message from Sunday yet. I was out with the youth, and hopefully what I'm going to say today isn't a repeat of some of what he said. I'm thinking it won't be, but if it is, then I don't know, maybe God's really wanting to hammer home a particular message to us this week. When I was younger, before I was a Christian, and in my early teens, at home we had a pool table, and I used to enjoy just knocking the balls around on the table. And every now and then I would do this thing where I'd have a shot kind of lined up, and I'd kind of say to myself, sometimes I'd say it out loud, sometimes it would just be in my head, oh, if I can get this ball in and the next ball in, in two shots, then I'll ask that girl out. Or if I can get these three balls in, then I'll be okay not doing my homework. And it's a very weird, thinking about it, it's quite weird and very kind of fatalistic, as if me potting or missing the balls is going to have any, what's the word? I can't remember the word now. As if it will have some kind of influence, that's the word, on the outcome of external events other than what's going on the table. But I guess I wanted a sign. I wanted some indication that things were going to be okay, that my asking out of a girl would go well, or my not doing my homework would go well. I needed I needed to feel better about it, didn't I? And in Mark 8 verses 11 to 13 it says this: the Pharisees came and began to question Jesus. Well, that's nothing new, they often did that, didn't they? And they did it to test him. To test him, they asked him for a sign from heaven. He sighed deeply and said, "Why does this generation ask for a sign? Truly I tell you, no sign will be given to it." Then he left them, got back into the boat and crossed on to the other side. And often we as followers of Jesus still need a sign for stuff, don't we? We need confirmation for things. We need to have that reassurance that we're going the right way. And we sometimes do it in quite fatalistic ways, a bit like the pool table incident I was talking about. If this happens, then this will be the consequence of that. Now you could argue, you could use the phrase, "Oh, but that's laying a fleece, Dave." Like Gideon did. He put a fleece outside and he said to God, if it's like this, if everything else is wet and the fleece is dry in the morning, yeah, then I'll do the thing you said. But really, that is much more to do with confirmation from something that God has already said, rather than a kind of a fatalistic outlook on what you do in this particular situation will have some kind of consequence to some other situation or circumstance going on. I hope that makes sense. So that's Mark 8, 11 to 13. But 1 Peter 1, verses 8 to 9 says this: though you have not seen him, you love him. And even though you do not see him now, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy, for you are receiving the end result of your faith, the salvation of your souls. And we are being saved by God's grace. That's salvation through Christ, through his death and resurrection on the cross. That wondrous and wonderful salvation in our lives is an ongoing daily process. His grace is sufficient for you and I for today. We don't need a sign to know that. It states it in his word. We don't need a sign to know that actually in the end everything's going to be okay. Every tear will be wiped away. There'll be no more sorrow, nor pain, nor suffering. And we don't need a sign for these things, because God has already provided a sign, and that is Christ himself. God's love is displayed most tremendously and extravagantly through the sacrifice of his son, through death, but also through resurrection and joy in the new. And so don't worry about today, because today, well, it'll worry about itself, as will tomorrow. But let's trust in Jesus and stick to him. But if you need confirmation for something, if you've been seeking God about a particular thing and you need confirmation, then ask others to pray with you. Maybe the Lord will speak to you through them. Seek him in and through his word. Maybe he'll give you something through that to really lift you and help you with a particular situation. But what I suggest you don't do is set out some pool balls on a table and do the whole, if I put this, then this thing is going to happen. Or if I don't put this, this thing is going to happen. Let's not use those things to help us decide big and small outcomes of things. But even though we don't see him, we are being saved by him. So I hope you have a great day today, and God bless you, and see you soon. Bye.